boys and girls. Welcome to Bitch Talk with Bitchcock. I am your one and only host, Maliena Bitchcock. I'm so titillated to announce that my very special guest is so big that there's not a one of you that's not going to know her name. She is all the way from Salem, Oregon. She is the queen of wigs herself, Lylac.
Hi, it's me, Lylac. What's up?
Hey girl, how you doing? Are you surviving quarantine?
I am. I'm doing all right. Just, being kind of lazy, not gonna lie. Doing some hair, drinking a little bit, having, trying to make the best of the situation.
Oh girl, I feel like I'm in a mini home vacation where I'm drinking all day, smoking weed all day, watching horror films the whole time. It's fantastic.
I mean, I do sort of miss work a little bit, not gonna lie, just because I do have some fun coworkers. But other than that, it's been a really good time, and me and Kyle just been hanging out a lot. With JJ, we hang.
Oh, I love that. I definitely miss the bars and the drag scene itself. There's a lot of people that you just see at the bars, and I kind of miss a lot of those peoples and a lot of that energy. So, well, I don't know. Should we get into this interview? I know these children are thirsty to know all the secrets about you, baby.
Well, I'm ready to spill some secrets, maybe a little bit, and just have some fun. This is gonna be a good time. I'm excited.
I have to start with saying how fucking amazing you look in this hair. That hair is spectacular. And is it a tinsel wig?
Yeah, this one's a red tinsel. Just did it like a week ago. Just touched it up.
Oh my gosh, you're giving me a punk rock Ariel. I love it so much.
No, I love that reference. That's what I feel every time I put this on, especially with the blue eyeshadow today. I'm just like, I feel the Little Mermaid fantasy.
Oh my gosh, actually, Lylac, come a little closer, scoot in and show them that face because, oh my God, your makeup is stunning today. How long did that take you?
Just about an hour. I think it was maybe just a tiny bit more. I usually don't take too long. I try to do faster faces. I don't like spending too long, doing the makeup process.
And you're talking to the bitch that takes 6 hours to get ready.
I mean,
well, bitch. Well, you know how to do your face now, but we're going to get deep in this interview. So the first thing I'd really like to know is, tell us about what first made you want to do drag and a little bit about that first time in drag.
So it all started back when I was 18 years old. There was this little underground club in downtown Salem. I think it was Razzles or something like that. And one of my friends, their uncle was part of the drag show. And so they invited me and my sister and my mom to all come down and enjoy it because it was an all age kind of thing. So we went down and the first thing I saw was Lulu Luscious, and Ecstasy Inferno, and a couple other queens outside smoking a cigarette. And I was just like, who are these beautiful women? They were stunning and so tall in their heels. I was just instantly drawn in. And I mean, at that point, I'd never seen a drag queen before in my life. I didn't know even idea. And so then we went, saw the show, got to hang out with everybody afterwards. It was a very small show, but it was so much fun. And that instantly, I was just like, I want to try this. I'd already started dabbling in makeup a little bit, but really not much. And I instantly was just like, I want to try this out maybe. But it took me still a couple of years till I actually started doing drag makeup.
Well, tell me about that first time in drag. Did you look as beautiful as you look now?
Far from it. I looked horrible. I've shared it a couple times on my social medias, but the first time I ever did full drag was actually for Halloween. And I was just really excited. I had this whole idea in my head of almost leather dominatrix. So I had this leather corset and these leather short little leather skirt, and some pumps and fishnets. And at that point I was really skinny. So I literally only had the corset, and that was pretty much my whole outfit, But my face was so busted. It was horrible. My eyebrow was up here. I looked like I didn't even have lipstick on. I was actually thinking of using gloss, just a colored gloss. And my crease just was a muddy, just slightly there. and then like these just gigantic lashes that were not meant for my face at all. Like it was not cute.
You know, we all start a little rocky. I mean, it took me 15 years to finally look like a decent drag queen. So,
Yeah, I get it.
well, tell me a little bit where you actually got your drag name, Lylac.
It's actually kind of weird. Like most of the time, people have like really great stories, or like it's like like a really punny name or whatever. But like mine was legit. I had posted a picture on Instagram and Facebook, and it was just I was like trying to do like a Alaska Thunderfuck face ish, but it did not turn out like that at all. Because it was probably like my third or fourth attempt at like doing like a full drag like beat. And one of my friends literally just commented, and she's just like, I want to call you Lylac. And I was like, but like she just spelled it like a normal color. And I instantly just looked at it and was like, I love that. I don't know what it was, but it instantly just like kind of stripper name, but still pretty, And I was like, that's like the mood that I want. And like sort of like a pretty stripper, but also like it's very like, I don't know, floral and pretty. The only thing I just did was like I changed it to a Y instead of an I, and just kind of like how I have my name Tony, like my real name is Tony, and people always ask like, oh, it's spelled with an I, and I'm like, no, it's spelled with a Y. So I've always kind of just joked on that part.
No, I totally love that. You know, I think when you create your name, it really sometimes you have these fun stories. Otherwise, they just come to you and they just stick. And I love that yours is just one of those that came to you and stuck. Now, let me see here. Tell me a little bit about the character that is Lylac and a little bit about your personality when you are in drag.
Um, it's kind of funny because I don't like to think of it as like almost a different character. Like a lot of people I know do have a separate like persona when it comes to their drag. I feel like I'm still like I actually feel like I'm more myself when I'm in drag because I don't have that like normal mindset that like blocks me out from just acting how I normally would. But when I'm in drag, I get to, I can be as feminine as I want. I can still be as butch as I want. I can literally do whatever the fuck I want. And most people don't judge because they see this as like a character. So that's where I get to like be myself a lot more and just have a good time because I don't have that barrier of actually looking like myself and then people having to judge that. But personality wise, I feel like I'm still pretty much the same in or out of drag. Yeah, that's about it that I can think of. I don't
No,
think I really changed the character at all. I mean, I'm just a little moho-y, honestly. Like that's about it. She got a big butt, so I just like to, have a good time.
well, do you consider Lilac to be like a very sweet and caring queen, or can she be shady at times?
I'm definitely really caring. Like I really do have a thing where I just love people, and I do love to be able to kind of uplift other people and just be like a caring person. I always like to whenever like house party moments or whatever, I always feel like I end up being like the mom of the group, and I like want to make sure everybody's taken care of. Like there was one time I was like at a full on party, like in full drag, and just like making sure people had water, making sure getting snacks in, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I can definitely, who can't be shady? Like, let's be real. Like, especially when we're backstage, like, messing with our makeup or, changing into our other outfits and just like, oh, you're wearing that, like, people do that all the time. And that's just like kind of part of it. I don't think I'm like the kind of one that's just like a bitch to everybody, but I can definitely have my shady moments, cracking a little joke every once in a while.
I mean, you have put me in tears a couple of times backstage. Don't you?
Whatever. If
So,
anything else, I'm just laughing so hard.
my face does have that tendency to, Well, honey, tell me a little bit what inspires your character. You say, pretty much you feel more like yourself, but are there any like women or strong, powerful characters that have actually inspired you for Lilac?
Um, one of the big ones has always been Lady Gaga. I just love her outrageous, out of the ordinary kind of like looks and styles. But she's also still very much like cares about, mental health and all this stuff. So that's always been something that's like really important and powerful to me. So that she's always been an inspiration for me for that. I definitely also think like people like Layla McQueen and what can I think? Friggin' Alaska, and just people that do slightly like more edgy, but still, like a traditional drag, but then bring an edge to it. Like that's something I've always loved and been inspired by, because I don't want to just be just pretty or just, one thing. Like I want to be multifaceted and like have all these different kind of looks put together. Like as you can see, just even now with what I'm doing, like I got friggin' tears on my face, giant ass lips, and like big old red hair. Like I just like to throw different styles all together.
Well, with your style now, you sometimes can be very pretty. Others you can be very clownish. What would you describe your aesthetic as?
I've always kind of the one thing that I always used to say was I called myself a spooky hooker, because like she's like that slutty moment, but she's like also just a little scary, like especially when I usually do like really intense eyes and things like that. Like people always see my makeup as like a darker look. And that's usually just like my normal everyday makeup. And then when it comes to like Halloween and stuff that I want to be more edgy and do like more dark stuff, like I still bring that, element of like skanky sexiness, So I've always just kind of identified as a spooky hooker when it comes to drag. But I do also love doing just like a pretty glamorous moment every once in a while.
No, absolutely. Sometimes you give us that very high fashion, very sexy look, where others, you're a complete drag monster. Now, what process do you go through when planning a drag show where you decide I'm going to go pretty this time, or I'm just going to go spooky as fuck?
It's really always about knowing my audience. I've kind of traveled all over, Oregon and even some in Washington and whatnot, and I've always planned ahead a little bit when it came to knowing where I was performing. So like if I was going to perform at like a drag bingo, I'm definitely not doing my spooky stuff, because I know a lot of them won't relate to that. And especially like at McMiniman's, there's a lot of older people there, so they tend to gravitate more towards like the high glamour and pretty stuff. Whereas if I know I'm going to do like kind of grungier nightclub or something like that, like I'm absolutely gonna bring all of my spooky shit, all my edgy shit. Like that's what I'm gonna do then. I do like to, kind of. I'm a little bit fluid when it comes to like my drag style, so that way I can kind of try and fit to every venue I'm at. And there's times that I will just mix it up and put it all together. Like sometimes one of my regular shows, I will do one night where I'm just doing a full horror like storyline through all of my numbers, and it's just depending on how I feel or if I know what my audience is going to be like.
Okay, totally. I think that's fantastic. One thing I've really grown to love about you is that you can be unpredictable. One thing you used to do in the beginning, when I mean of our friendship at least, was you would draw on or glue on like gigantic fake teeth. And
Yeah.
you would have like this Maliena from Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
kind of smile. And that was like something that I almost associated to your drag for a long time, was that kind of look.
Yeah. That's something that I've always loved to do. I do love special effects makeup, especially just to make that just transformation of making something look so different or so dramatic, or like optical illusions, and to do it all with makeup is so much fun. And for a while, I actually did do the big smiles, because there was queens at this time. I was like reigning as Miss Gay Salem, and there was a lot of queens that like to say to me, "You should smile more." And I was not happy about that. So what did I do? I put on a big ass smile and said, "Hey, you can't say I'm not smiling, bitch, even if I'm frowning right now."
Oh my God, that is the best response ever. I love that. And I didn't know that story behind doing that makeup all the time. I've seen you do a lot of special effects makeup, and sometimes you definitely, lean into that dark, kind of scary, macabre world. Do you kind of get inspired by the dark and macabre?
Um, Definitely. I love like horror movies. A lot of times it's more of like the thriller types, not always the like really gory stuff, but I do just love the I don't know, the beauty of blood and darkness. I don't know why, but I've always actually no, funny enough, I haven't always been like that. When I was a kid, I hated and was so terrified of all like scary movies. Like I remember walking past one time while cousins were watching freaking Chucky, and I had like the worst like freak out moment, and I just freaked out. I hated it. And then around like high school age, me and my sister started watching like random scary movies, and we ended up watching the whole Chucky series, and I thought it was hilarious and amazing, and I was like, it completely changed my viewpoint on horror movies. And then I just started watching like literally any kind of horror movie I could get, hold of, and like especially the new ones. I've loved those. The Conjurings movies, all those, just all that kind of stuff. Just, I don't know, it's fascinating to me. It's so dark and but also like so beautiful at the same time.
No, and I totally understand. If you don't know this about me, I have my own little obsession with scary movies, and I actually have kind of a similar story to yours, where um, I was scared of scary movies through my whole childhood. And then it's funny that you brought up Chucky, because I have a funny story about the Chucky doll. So I watched Chucky as a kid, and then that Christmas, my parents, and you might be too young to know this reference, they bought me a My Buddy doll. Now, a My Buddy doll was pretty much a good guy doll
Yeah.
back in the 80s. And my brother liked to play horrible tricks on me and make the doll move around. And especially when I was sleeping, he would like set it right on top of me. And he used to scare the shit out of me to a point where I actually locked that doll in the closet. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, but I had a vicious family when it came to horror films. Whenever they caught me watching horror, let me tell you one more story. My dad, I was watching Freddy Krueger, and he went out to my screen window and he put butter knives in between his knuckles and went and screeched it down there. You have never heard me scream that loudly.
I would have been so mad. Oh my gosh, that's so scary. That was one of my biggest fears, was like after watching a scary movie and then you like see something or hear something out the window, or especially at nighttime. Oh my gosh. I used to have like the biggest fear, especially of Signs. That movie like fucked me up when I was a kid. I was
That
maybe
wasn't
like eight
even
years old.
scary.
I know it wasn't, but it was like 8 years old when I freaking saw it, and or maybe even younger. I don't even remember.
I was in high
But
school when that came out.
I'm kind of young, so.
Well, I have an obsession with 80s horror films. A lot of the slasher films from the 80s, like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp. Tell me maybe one of your favorite scary movies.
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have like an absolute favorite. The one that really like got me so deep into them was probably The Conjuring, and I know that's like still one of the newer movies, but I was already like watching some and I was enjoying them, but it was nothing. But once I saw The Conjuring, I was like so into horror movies. Like I literally made sure to go see the second one when it came out in theaters with my sister, and like going to see, like all these different movies at once that one came out. And just because like I love that it was sort of had that like vintage feel of like older horror movies, but then it also was very fucking frightening, and like the special effects in that movie were sick. Like I instantly like loved it. Even the cheesy little like laboratory montage kind of moment where they're setting up the cameras, like I love that. I thought it was so great.
So, it's kind of funny because you're how old, Lylac?
I'm 25.
You're 25 years old. So a lot of the 80s references kind of go over your head. Do you know a lot of the like original horror film references from like the 80s?
I did end up going back and watching several. I did watch like almost all of the Nightmare on Elm Street. I still haven't watched. Actually, it's funny. I haven't watched the Friday the 13th yet. I've only watched the newer one. I haven't watched the older ones. I
Oh, they're
know.
great. They're
I need to.
awful. They're absolutely awful. And if you want a great, awful queer horror film, you should watch the Sleepaway Camp series, because those were fucking so tacky, so 80s, but so entertaining. And the second and third one starred Bruce Springsteen's sister as the serial killer.
Oh wow. Oh, I
Yeah,
have watched
so
all the Halloweens as well. I've watched most of the Halloweens. I don't think I've seen all of them, but most of them. Um, yeah.
well, you were a child when like Scream came out, correct?
I'm like, when did it come out? Because I did watch those, but it was not until I
No,
was older.
the first one came out in the 90s. I don't know if you, when were you born,
I
bitch?
was, I was born in '94,
So you were like one or two when the original Scream came out.
but I ended up watching it when I was like maybe 9 or 10.
Bitch, I hate you for your youth right now. Well, you do, like we mentioned before, you do have a few monster looks. Now, do you have any monster looks that have been inspired by certain horror films? Like, have you ever dressed up as Freddy Krueger? Have you ever dressed anything that was inspired by a certain film?
I did like demon possessed nun once, which was kind of in a reference towards the Conjuring 2, where they had like the nun. Oh, and then I guess they actually made the nun movie, but it wasn't quite the same. And most of my stuff, honestly, is like I just take little ideas of different creepy things I've seen and then like throw them together. It's never really been like I've done like a exact reference or something necessarily. I've wanted to, but I just haven't had the chance to, or like the funds usually. uh,
No, I totally understand that. We're broke queens. And with that said, if you would like to support either of us during this interview, both me and Lilac's tipping information such as Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App will be in the description. Please feel free to tip. These are hard times, and every dollar helps, bitches.
Absolutely.
So, Lilac, tell me, because like you said, you like to make those looks your own. Um, Tell me about your favorite monster look you've done to date.
Um, Probably, I'm not gonna lie, I always go back to it because I was my absolute favorite. Is for Coronation one year, it was Salem Coronation, and the theme was glam and gore, and so I had like this super glamorous dress with like stoning all over it and lace, and then it was like this big old blonde hair to be my glamour side, and then I made this huge freaking smile with like jagged teeth coming out and just like bleeding out. And I had like the one eye with the contact and like literally a blood cut crease. That was probably one of my absolute favorite ones I've ever done. I want to recreate it too. I literally saved that mouth for a while because I reused it a couple times.
So you
I
actually
did,
have a prosthetic that you put on.
yeah, I made my own prosthetic, and then I literally like I was okay. So this is don't do this at home, kids. I literally used nail glue to glue it on because I didn't have anything else at the time. So each tooth was individually put on with nail glue, and so that night, I mean, it was like probably 2 o'clock in the morning. We'd been partying all day because of Coronation, and then after party at the bar, I literally got in the car and I just ripped it straight off, and literally like chunks of skin where each nail where the tooth was glued just like ripped off. So don't recommend doing that, but it was
Oh
still my
my
absolute
God.
favorite thing.
Nail glue is so brutal. For the longest time, I was using nail glue to keep my earrings on until one time I yanked them off and a chunk of skin came off, and it took like 3 months for my ears to heal.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
I don't really ever wear earrings, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think I ever will.
well, you were actually my lifesaver. You gave me the tip to use glue dots, and that has been my lifesaver ever
They work
since.
so well. The couple times I've worn earrings, that's what I use, and never have an issue.
Right. So you mentioned you do love drag monsters out there. There are competitions like Dragula. Are there any famous drag monsters that you really look up to?
Yes, Vander Von Odd, winner of season one, always been an absolute like. The second I saw that bitch's looks, I was completely just inspired and so obsessed with like
Me too.
everything she does. Like can do no wrong to me. Honestly, there was one. It literally like haunts me to this day. She posted it on her Instagram where she did this performance, and she literally was inside of the dollhouse, and she had like just tattered face, like light little bit of like tendrils of hairs coming off of her, like almost golem-esque, and just like this haunting face, and literally like it opens up at like halfway through the performance, and her body's like inside. It was just one of the most beautiful things I ever saw in my life. It was stunning.
Okay, and I know that you quite look up to James Majesty also, correct?
Oh yeah, no. I've honestly some of my looks have been very like inspired by her. She does a lot with makeup, and I love pretty much almost anything she's done. I've absolutely loved it. Her season, while a lot of times she came off shady and whatever, like yeah, she annoyed me a couple times, but honestly, you cannot argue with the fact that bitch got talent. She is stunning. I've seen her perform live, and it is absolutely amazing.
And didn't you get to meet her and actually like take a selfie with that bitch?
Yeah, the first time that I saw a show with her in, I got to take a selfie with her. But then it was actually kind of crazy. I did a show with Madeline Hatter, who I also obsessed with, and she's also on Dragula season 3. Yeah, 3.
Yeah, 3.
I was just thinking, I'm like, wait, how many seasons have there been? Yeah, she's on season 3. I was doing a show with her, and James Majesty happened to be in town at the time, and literally, like, I was on her Instagram story. Like, she took a video of me performing, and I literally, like, so, like, starstruck moment, you know?
That is really exciting. I've had a few things like that, but to have someone that you look up to take a video of you, that's fantastic.
And, like, she literally
Now,
tipped me, too. And that was when I was like, oh, thank you for the dollar, but I'm also still performing, so I can't, like, get out of character.
you crazy bitch. Now, would you ever go on a competition such as Dragula?
I like to say that I would, and I am like inspired by them, and I definitely think I would try to. I'm really bad when it comes to like, I'm very competitive one, but at the same time, I also am like, I don't take constructive criticism well, not because like I'm like bitchy or anything. Like, I would just probably cry if like I just could imagine one of the boulets being like, this look wasn't very good, and I would just like literally start crying my eyes out right then and there. I'm like, I don't want to be that annoying bitch on TV that's just like crying at everything, even though I know absolutely that would be me.
Well, do you think you could handle the elimination challenges that they throw at you?
A lot of them I could. The one that like probably freaked me out the most, weirdly enough, was the skydiving, just because I'm really afraid of heights.
What?
But I definitely think I could get over it pretty easily. Like, I've done a lot of like roller coasters and things now that I'm like, okay, I think I could handle that. But initially, I don't think I would have been super great at it, but I think I would still do it. Like, it's a big opportunity and you can get a lot of money. Like, why
Right.
not fucking just do it? Like, if I was in that, I would go 100% and do anything they had me do, basically.
The scariest challenge I think I did see to date was season 2, and it was when they did all the piercing needles to the arm. You know,
Yeah, it kind of freaks me out, but like I've had a lot of tattoos and I've had a couple piercings. Like I think I could handle that one.
I've had tattoos and piercings too, but like to see how many needles that they put in that arm, I was like, bitch, I would have passed out. I would have, yeah.
The big ones, like in the chest on Moniki, that was like, oh, that one was where I was like cringing a little. Yeah,
Fuck no. Mm-mm.
like I'm
So,
okay with my blood drawn. I'm okay with a lot of those things.
you know, one thing I have noticed is you have some amazing makeup skills. Now, you are an amazing makeup artist. Where have you learned all of it?
um, Literally all of it has been completely like I've taught myself. Like I've watched some videos and just like trial and error, like, oh, let's play around and do this. When I started doing drag, I literally had not looked at a single video. I'd not seen anything. It was legit. I saw what people I would look at a picture and I would just like try and imitate it. Because I've always been an artist. I've always drawn people's faces. That's one of like my specialties is like hyper realistic drawings.
Mhm.
So when it came into drag, I literally just would like look at a picture and basically try to imagine painting and slash drawing a face on. And so then as I started like getting more influences of different drag queens and like I would kind of like try out what they would do and see what worked for me. And then YouTube really blew up, you know, around the same time where people were started doing makeup tutorials all over. So then I would just kind of like watch some of those and, you know, practice the techniques and stuff like that. And then I just would like follow professional makeup places and like see what their techniques they were teaching. And there's a lot of information out there now that like people almost don't have an excuse to not learn something new. So
Right.
I take that time to really like pay attention and learn all these new different things and then apply it to myself. And that's literally been how I've learned to get to where I am, you know, in a couple of years.
Well, even me, I struggle with, I try to do new things, but then I end up looking like shit. So,
We don't
I tend to stick with what I know and doing my face a certain way. Now, I do also want to say, with that said, that I still try to go outside my comfort zone. You
yeah,
mentioned Vander Van Odd. They've done a lot of different like pastel skin tones, and
yes.
that really speaks to me. And a few things I have done in the past is I've done I've done a Pepto Bismol skin tone. I did a turquoise skin tone, and I kind of want to start doing more of that stuff in more of a high fashion look.
Yeah, I think that'd be really fun. I mean, a lot of queens are doing that now, and I think it looks so stunning. There's a queen up in Seattle. Her name's Cranberry. She's literally so good. Like like very Juno Birch, like makeup-esque, but like honestly, like more draggy. Like, because Juno does a very like soft face, but like this girl, she literally does everything. Like, it's so good. I can't even get over it. When I saw her in person, I was like, this is amazing.
Well, do you have any makeup tips that you would like to maybe share with anyone watching, or maybe any beginners starting up in drag?
When it comes to beginners, the thing I literally always tell them every single time is learn how to glue down your eyebrows, because that's going to make the biggest difference. Once you get that canvas down and flattened, then you really aren't going to have any issues when it comes to blending and all that other stuff. Like, once you can get that part down, everything else starts to build better. Because if you have a horrible brow coverage, you're going to try and blend up there, and then you're going to have oatmeal and muddy eyeshadow, you know? And so
Yeah.
that's one of the things I always tell. Practice your eyebrows like all the time. Just do it all the time.
Now, would you ever shave your eyebrows just to make it easier on you?
I did one time, not all the way. I literally just like shaved like almost all of it off, and I had like a little tiny bit in the front. And I had that for like maybe 2-3 months, and I like hated it because like I do have a day job outside of drag and hair. So when I go to that job, I would get lazy because I didn't want to draw on my eyebrows at 6 o'clock in the morning every day. Like, that's
Oh
boring.
my God.
I would literally rush out of bed, you know, go to the bathroom, change, get the heck out of here. And I would just go to work, and I just have these little stumps just right in the middle of my face. And I
Well,
hated it. And then even if I shaved it off, I always tell people, I have a lot of fucking forehead. Like, I have a big ass forehead. So if I got rid of my eyebrows, that would be a fucking six head. That's not a forehead. That's not cute.
you know, honey, I don't ever shave my brows anymore. I did it. I used to in my early 20s, and then I would paint on boy brows. Now, let me tell you an awful reason why you shouldn't shave your brows and paint them on as a boy, is it seriously affects your sex life. And the reason is, when you have a painted eyebrow and you're getting all hot and sweaty, your eyebrows start to drip. And let's just say it doesn't really turn the guys on when they realize your brows aren't real.
I could not imagine. Are they like, you know, like you go down real quick, come back up, and it's like, where's your brows at?
Oh my God, that would be so devastating. Yeah. I think the worst time is when I accidentally shaved my brow and I was like, well, that one's half gone. Might as well shave them both off. And then, God, I felt like a bald muskrat the whole time.
Oh my god.
So, Lilac, you are an amazing performer. I mean, amazing. Now, you really know how to put on a show. What are we to expect at a Lilac show?
Um, I mean, I always try to just keep it really high energy, especially if it's like a very like clubby setting. I just always try to keep high energy. You're gonna expect my ass to be big and in your face. That's just a fact. I definitely like to just dance a lot and move around, and like I try to like seduce the audience a little bit, you know, that kind of thing. Um, I don't know. I've never really thought of myself as like a great performer necessarily. I still like struggle even thinking about that sometimes. It's just something that I just kind of do, and I just have a good time. That's literally like the biggest thing lately, especially. Was for a while I was so focused on like sort of like a business side of drag where I was like, I need to make sure I'm booked. I need to make sure I'm keeping everybody pleased. I need to make sure this, blah, 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 like all these things. And then it
Right.
like creating like a creative block on me. And then I wasn't doing things that I wanted to do anymore. So then now I'm like at this point where I, when I'm booked for somewhere, I want to make sure I'm having a good time and I'm doing songs and performances that I want to do. Um, and it's made a world of difference. And I feel like people actually are more entertained because they can see that I'm enjoying myself. Whereas I'm not just like trying to do like a little two-step to like please everybody, you know?
No, and I do understand completely. In fact, during my year as Empress, where I was doing a lot of glamour, I was kind of behaving more proper. I got really depressed during my year, and I got what I call dragger's block, and it's a lot like writer's block, where I couldn't get creative. I really had a hard time picking music, and there were times where I didn't even want to get in drag,
Yeah.
and it's a realistic thing that happens in the drag world where one moment you're doing it for fun and you're having the time of your life, but then the moment it becomes a job, it kind of can become taking over your life and can be really hard on you. And
Well,
sometimes what you need to do is just step aside and take a break for a minute and then reevaluate how you want to do drag. So
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, same thing. When I was rating, I mean, I may not have been an empress, but I definitely felt that like I had to be certain places or I had to do this or I
yeah,
had to, and it started to create this mentality of like I was being forced to do drag almost, and I hated that. Like I literally hated that because I never wanted to be forced to do drag. The reason I started doing drag was because I wanted to have fun. I wanted to perform. I wanted to entertain. But then when somebody was like, "You have to go do this. You have to go do that," it like just creates this like mentality of like, you want to rebel. It's like fuck the authorities.
no, and I totally understand. During my reign, there was a lot of act this way, behave, don't talk dirty, don't, and it can be very dulling on your personality, especially when you are someone who's known for being loud or sexual or kind of crude. Because, oh my goodness, my phone's acting like a vibrator over here. My gosh. But
Are you sure it's
it
not
can
just
be
your
very hard.
bedside table?
I know. If it's going to keep vibrating like that, I'm going to shove it between my legs. Mm. Oh my gosh. So, Lilac, like I mentioned, you are one hell of a performer. Do we expect you to do a lot of tricks like death drops or shablams?
Absolutely not.
Come
I'm
on,
not that
baby,
kind of
why
girl.
not?
I've tried a couple things. It's just not me. Like I still want to learn some stuff, just to like kind of spice it up a little bit. But I mean, I can do some high kicks. I can do some cartwheels occasionally. They don't always land, so I don't do them very often. But all around, I just like to dance, have fun, little choreography here and there. But yeah, I don't really. So I don't think that necessarily. I think right now, especially in this age of drag, where it's literally everywhere and everybody's seeing it, when they see these performers that they're doing the splits, they're doing the death drops and cartwheels and all this stuff, it's almost an expected kind of a thing.
Right.
And it's at the point where like so many people do that. Not everybody does it well. So those that do it really well, they aren't getting as much hype as they should because they're literally doing it so incredibly well and easily. Like you look at somebody like Bougie Cherry, that motherfucker can do a fucking cartwheel into a shablam like no other. And she should be getting like dollars thrown at her like crazy for that. But because some other three other bitches in the same show did a sir blam and a cartwheel, they don't really care as much. So
Right.
I like to be like, whenever I do a little trick or something, it's something that's special and more people get to see instead of just like I'm constantly doing it.
A lot of my tricks, like the most athletic trick I do is like a high kick, but most of my other tricks are more just comedy stuff, like where I make facial expressions or I make gestures with my tits. But I mean, I'm very much of an expressive queen, so that's a lot of where my tricks come from. Now, with that said, would you consider yourself a comedy queen at all?
I like to be funny, honestly. Like I'll pull up some like parodies. I have a couple like comedy mixes, and they're fun. I do enjoy doing them. I have like a formula for brunches. Specifically, if I know it's like a big brunch, I'll do like one really high energy, one comedy, and maybe a ballad. Unless it's like a specific brunch that I'm like, I'm not gonna get away with the ballad, so I'm gonna do two high energies and one comedy number. Just because people really love funny stuff, like especially if it's like sexual innuendos and stuff like that. They'll eat it up every single time.
Oh my
So
God. So one of my favorite routines that you have done to date that is fucking hilarious is your Mean Girls routine, but instead of being any of the Mean Girls, you're actually the mom from
yes,
Mean Girls. Tell the audience watching a little bit about that routine, because don't at one point you have like a dog chewing on your nipple?
yes. I basically am just like Amy Poehler's character in Mean Girls, Regina George's mom, and I literally just do all of her monologue from the movie because it's not a lot, honestly. And then I just like literally like act out pretty much each scene, and then I just make it extra as fuck. Like you were talking about the point where she's just like, so what's the 411? What's the hot gossip? Tell me what everybody's listening to. And like the dog's just like biting on her nipple. So I literally have like a little stuffed dog. Like I love doing the props with that whole thing because I have like a whole bag of props that I work with it. And I love at the end because there's the part where she's like, do you need a snack, a condom? And I literally like pull out condoms and just throw them into the audience for everybody.
Oh my God.
It's a little funny sometimes.
Well, that's my favorite routine that you do. Tell us about one of your favorite routines that you have.
I don't know if I have one, honestly, just because I like to do new stuff all the time. So there's a couple that I'll do like more often just because like people will request it or whatever. Um, God, I don't know if there's like a right now, one of my favorite songs to like perform to is probably Stupid Love, Lady Gaga's new one,
Yeah.
or I have like a remix of Into You that I really freaking love doing. And those are probably like my two like really hype ones. Or Dua Lipa, she's like killing it right now. Her new album is amazing. And like Don't Start Now, like you can request that anytime and I'll absolutely do it. But I definitely don't think there's like one routine that like sticks out to me that I'm like, that is like the one that I love the most that I do myself. Cause like I'm honestly not my biggest fan when it comes to certain stuff like that. Like I know some girls are just like, hype themselves up a lot, but I feel like I'm pretty humble when it comes to things like that. Cause like I honestly am like, I'm an okay performer. Like if you like me, that's cool. I don't think I'm like gonna be like, oh, she's amazing. Like I'm so good. Like I don't think that at all.
Okay, sure. Hmm. No, I'm teasing you. No, I think you're a sweet and very humble queen. But with that said, there are times where you'll get me, you, and Kimberly in a corner, and we all suddenly turn into mean girls judging everyone.
More like each other, honestly. That's like my favorite thing to be like when you're really close with your friends and like it's not even the truth and you're just like, "God, you're so ugly, blah, blah, blah." And it's like obviously you're not because we freaking like that's just how we joke with each other.
Oh, you mean I'm really not ugly? Oh,
Girl, I've
I'm just
literally never
day
called you
by
ugly.
day.
You're so funny.
Well, honey, so I know you sometimes get on the microphone. What would we expect from Lilac on the mic?
Ugh, a fool, a damn fool at that, bitch. Especially at my own shows, we end up getting like really lit most of the time, and so I'm just like trying to crack a joke or something, and it's not even funny. Like I already know it's
Crickets.
not funny, but I mean, I like to try and keep it like to the point, keep the things moving. I don't like to like be a chatty Cathy, like just going with my MCs. Like I feel like people are there to see the show, not to hear me talk, because I'm not no Poison Waters. I can't host the Boots House down. I'm not that kind of girl, so I'm not gonna just talk the whole time because I already know I'm not that good at it. So I'll just do what I can to keep it moving, be a little funny at least, and make sure nobody gets too bored.
Being on the microphone is intimidating, especially if you're shy in real life. Yes, we get more confident once we put the drag on. The only reason I'm ever, successful on the microphone is I've learned that you just have to act like a complete idiot and not be scared that anyone's going to judge you because, when you're acting a fool is when most people are having the best time.
True. I laugh at myself more than anything. I'm like, I'll call myself out for a bad joke. I'll like make fun of myself before I make fun of other people, especially on the microphone. Because like if you don't make fun of yourself, how you gonna make fun of other people? Honestly.
Because you shouldn't, Blanche. You shouldn't. No, I'm joking. We always like making fun of other bitches. So tell me a little bit about those other bitches. Speaking of, tell me a bit about the Salem drag scene. Can it be competitive?
Honestly, we're really close. Like, for a while we had a little bit of a divide because of like there was more than just one bar. Um, but we still loved each other, that's for sure. Like there's always been that connection with everybody. Like anytime a new queen comes out, like we do try and like invite them in and like be, one. There's definitely been struggles because like, there's drama with the court. There's drama with everybody. Everybody has drama and everybody has baggage. So there's always going to be those struggles. But for the most part, especially right now, I feel like Salem's really been unifying and like becoming really close knit, like drag community. We have only one bar right now, but we are still trying to branch out and do other venues here in town. And we have some honestly really amazing queens that get underlooked, honestly. Like a lot of people know about like me and Vijay and Riri and Angel, but like, you know, Kiara and Charisma, Kwanzaa, I mean, everybody knows Angel. She's everywhere, but like, there's so many other queens. Priscilla, well, she's not even in Salem. She's close enough. There's just so many other queens here in town. Juno, especially. Juno is so good. Like, people don't get to know them because there's such a small community here in Salem that we don't always get to move up and go into Portland and into all these other cities. Especially Eugene. Eugene's really hard to get down to because like that's a lot longer of a distance. But
it's an hour away.
Yeah, that's long, Britt. Do you want to stay in full drag in a car for an hour? No.
Bitch, you
I
go
can
to
afford it in
Portland.
25 minutes.
Bitch, you go to Portland. That's an hour away.
Portland is literally 47 miles, and my fast ass, I can get there in usually 35 minutes, tops.
Bitch. I fucking love you.
When it goes to Eugene, it goes down to 2 lanes, and you got them slow-ass trucks in the way that try to pass the other truck, and then you're fucking stuck there, and it's taking you an hour and a half instead of an hour like it should have to get down to Eugene.
Well, Eugene definitely wants to have you down here more often. We would really definitely like to see a polished bitch like yourself. I know bitches are always talking about your wig, so we definitely want to get your ass down here now. With the drag scene, tell me a bit. You've already mentioned a few of your favorite queens. Now, do you ever work with queens that you mentioned? Juno. Do you work with Misha or Priscilla Caliente ever?
Yeah, on occasion I do work with them. Priscilla is my drag sister, so we are pretty close. She's so fucking funny. Like, if you ever just sit down, get high with her, hilarious. You're just gonna be laughing the whole damn time.
I love that. Now, out of all those girls, who's your favorite?
I always have to go with Juno, honestly. Like, she is so, like, creative. She comes up with, like, amazing mixes. Like, her personality, like, she doesn't show it all the time, especially if you give her a microphone, she's not going to show it as much as she should. But her personality is so amazing and hilarious. Like, literally, we have a great time anytime we just hang out. Like, she's great.
I fucking love that. Now, speaking of other queens that you really get along with, what do you think of queens like me, Maliena Bitchcock?
Oh my gosh. Girl, you know I love you. Are you kidding? I'm gonna be real. When we first, like, actually before we even ever met, I was just like, who is this? Like, trying to be awesome. And then I like met you and I was like, oh, she's like great. Like, I love her. She's funny, she's talented, like, you're pretty fucking amazing, and you already know that.
Thank you. It's kind of scary when you realize I've been doing drag 15 years. You're like, why did it take you so long to get pretty?
I did make fun of you. I forgot about it. Like, the first time we did that, what was it? OSF or whatever down in Ashland. And we literally like got to the place and all of us were starting to get our makeup on. And you'd already been there for like 2 hours. And you're like, I was like, oh, she's like almost done. Why'd she get here so early? And then I sit down and painting and painting and painting. And then I'm like putting my lash on and I look up and I'm like, why is she gonna have her lashes on yet? Like, her lipstick.
Well, you know, we all go through processes. I have a horrible, when I'm doing my makeup, my hand shakes a lot. So I have to go really slow. Otherwise, I look like a children's coloring book. And sometimes I still do. So, okay, girls. So let's see here. So I hear that you're dating another drag queen.
Yes, I am.
How is it to date another drag queen? Tell us about that.
I know some people find it weird. I know, like, I just think it's really odd that there's this mentality in this gay culture that, like, a lot of, like, gay dudes don't like to date drag queens. And I just don't get it. Like, honestly, I don't get it.
They think we're them or that we want to be girls, and
yeah,
that's not the truth half the time. You know, sometimes, yeah, we're femme, but there's also a butch side to our personality.
But then there's also, like, they're the same ones that are at the fucking bar throwing dollars, being like, yes, queen, you're fucking amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, but then you're like, oh, but I wouldn't date you. I don't want to be with you. Like, like you could hype us up and whatever, but it's like, oh, but you're like, I think they think that we're like too high maintenance or some shit. I don't know, but like a lot of people also think it's weird to date other drag queens, and I don't get that either. Like, I'm like, you're all just being weird about it. Because when we met, one, we didn't know each other did drag. But then we found out about it later on, and it was like, oh, cool. Like, whatever. I'll paint you. You know, we'll have fun. And it was not a big deal. When we started merging our closets, it became a little bit of a big deal because we were like, oh, I need to wear this. No, I need to wear this. But I mean, now I'm like way bigger than him, so no worries on who's gonna wear what.
Well, with that said, does it ever get competitive between the two of you, both being, working queens?
I think there was always like a worry that that would happen, but we've never really had that to be a big issue. There's been a couple times that like we might be a little weird, like if one of us gets asked to do something but not the other or something like that. But it's come to a point where we know each other very well and know how we operate in and out of drag very well that we just hype each other up, honestly. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like he is always so supportive of me knowing because I do a lot of shows. Like I push myself to do and like get out there. I'm very like kind of business, mentality of like trying to make money in this. And he doesn't want to do it like that. He does it for fun more so. So we know each other, how each other works. So we're able to support each other in what we do in drag.
Now, do you both ever collaborate together? Like, could we ever expect a duet from both you and the JJ?
Yeah, actually. A lot of people thought it was like, not a lot of people, I don't know. But some people think it's weird. I don't. At first we were like, we're very different in our styles, which also I think helps with the competitive part, is that we do very different drag. So that is a little bit of a, like, it eases everything. But then we got asked actually as like to be a command performer for somebody. And they were like, we want both of you. And we were like, what? Like, both of us? Because we ain't got nothing planned like that. So we had to like literally come up with this whole like thing, and we ended up having one of our friends, Juno, actually is the one that made it for us. She made us this mix that it was like all bridesmaids. So it was like a lot of quotes from the movie, and then we like put in all these different songs that like went with it, and just did this whole little bridesmaids routine. And it was so much fun, and we've done it a couple times since. And then we've also done a couple other duets. So I mean, they're not unlikely to happen, that's for sure.
No, I love that so much. Now, do you think dating another drag queen and having a different perspective in the home who actually also does drag has helped your drag?
Definitely. There's times that we voice opinions to each other, or we'll ask like, is this okay? Like, do you like this outfit? Like, does this hair go with this? And I think it's really helped us to like build off of each other and to create better looks and, just all around better stuff.
I love that. I think that is fantastic. It makes me kind of wish I had my own drag queen to have a little bit of a kai-kai with. You know. Well, girl, let's get into the subject that these bitches have been tuning in and waiting for this whole time. Let's talk about a little business that we like to call Locks by Lylac. Tell me a little bit about that empire.
You crack me up calling it an empire, first of all. But I kind of started. It was never actually really a plan. I never thought I would be doing this, honestly. I've always wanted to do hair in general. Like I was gonna go to cosmetology school. I was gonna, go and do all that stuff and get hair, skin, and nails, all that good shit. And then I realized it was such a financial thing that I could not do. Like I didn't qualify for enough, like what's it called, FAFSA shit, and yeah, I didn't want to take out like a whole bunch of loans, and I didn't want to be in debt forever. And there was a lot that I didn't want to do, but I knew I wanted to do some kind of beauty related thing. And then when I started doing drag, I was just wearing literally just straight fucking hair all the time. Like that was my thing, was just straight blonde or straight gray hair, and I loved it. I thought it was cute. People thought it was cute, like the sort of whatever. But then as I started getting more into it, I started seeing more and more different hairstyles and different stuff, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I'm gonna try that. And so then I would like try and like curl hair, do things like that, just like teasing a little bit. And it literally just started becoming something where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And I started creating like different hairstyles. Well, all it took was one time doing this one that was like straight and big, and Kimberly Michelle Westwood saw that and was like, hey, I want a hair like that. I was like, okay, like just give me the hair and I'll do what I just did. And so did that, and pretty much from there she was just like, okay, I'm gonna keep sending you some hairs. And so I've literally done probably like 30 wigs for her since, honestly. Like I don't even know how many. It's been so many. And
So
that's what really started my styling wigs. And then I started styling obviously for myself and for JJ, coming up with different ideas and stuff like that. And I literally started learning as much as I could online and taking different like online classes and seminars and shit like that, just to, tune in to how to style synthetic hairs. And I mean, now creating shit, for people all over, literally all over America now, which is still
um,
nuts to me. Like, I don't understand. Like,
we'll definitely get into that a little more. Now, you mentioned that you started with Miss Kimberly. Now, how long was it until your business blew up and everyone knew the name Locks by Lilac?
I would say it was from when I started doing links for her, it was probably a year or more, almost 2 years probably actually, just because it was not till like midway through her Empress year that other people really started contacting me all the time. Because I started like the year before she was Empress, I started doing her hair up until she was crowned Empress, and I literally did the hair for her for crowning, and that was a big moment where people were like, that's dope hair, I want that. And so people started messaging me like, hey, can I get this done, hey, can I get this done? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And so then I just kept growing and growing from there until like I said, probably midway through when I started getting like a ton of people in Portland, like especially during Elite Queen. There was a little competition up in Portland called Elite Queen. During that time, there was a lot of people, competing and wanting to create all these different looks weekly. So I started getting inquiries like every single week, and it just started blowing up from there. So all the people from the court, and then all the people from local Portland towns, or the Portland city areas, they started like messaging me and wanting hair. So it started from just literally maybe 2 wigs a week to probably 14 wigs a week at some points.
Now, you definitely have a fresh eye when it comes to wig styling, and you definitely, I would say, have more of unique styles compared to a lot of the styles out there. Where do you get the inspirations for the things that you come up with?
A lot of it is from like other queens, not necessarily like I'll just go and steal an idea kind of a thing, but when I will like see somebody's face or see somebody's like outfits and like just different structures and shapes really make me think of like, oh, this would look really dope, or oh, this would look really dope. And sometimes it's literally just like I'll be teasing away shaping the hair, and then when I'm going to like smooth and shape it, I'm like, oh, maybe this would look cool, oh, maybe this would look cool. And it's just like kind of playing with the hair and seeing what it does, and what it how I can manipulate it and easily, and stuff like that. So some of like the different things that people like that I do have come up from just like accidents. Like, I don't even know. There's some like one that I did recently. There was like two like rolls, like victory rolls up, and then I had like a big old swoopy into another roll, and like that was literally just because the hair kind of fell like that, and I was like, oh, this might look cool. So I just rolled it around, pinned it, stick, and I was like, oh, that looks dope. I'm gonna do that. And so like, stuff like that just kind of happens, and that's where I get the more I I don't know how to say, but just like the more unique styles end up coming from usually like accidents or just playing with the hair.
Now, one thing that I've noticed, and because I've recently started buying quite a bit of hair from you and participating in your wig auctions, is, and I don't think my drag was ever, well, I was going to say wasn't busted, but I was definitely busted for a bit. Um, I definitely think I'm a fabulous queen, but I do think that once I started buying your hair, it started elevating my drag. Do you think when are your wigs worth investing for these newer queens to help elevate their looks and get them more of that kind of drag look?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think the nice thing about what I do is I'm not nearly as expensive as a lot of other people out there are. Like
Mhm.
wigs like this, you can find some people selling for almost $200, and like
Right.
I would sell this one for around like 130. So like it's still, you know, obviously a little pricey because like there is it's not cheap what we do, obviously. And like wigs aren't cheap to buy, even some of them are very
Right.
expensive. So there's like always that need for people to realize like it is an investment. You know, when you come out with a wig that's like big and show stopping, like people see it, and right away when they're at that show, they're like, oh, this bitch deserves $1. Like at least I know I do. That's how I feel. I see a bitch come out and she looking like fly as hell. I'm instantly just like, whoop, you get $1. I don't even care if you can't lip sync. You look bomb as heck. You get $1. You know. So I definitely think doing something like that is worth the investment. Literally with everything, like, you know, upgrading your costumes, upgrading your nails, your makeup, all that kind of stuff is like, it is worth the investment. You really do get what you put into it, you know.
No, I absolutely agree. Now, it does seem like this day and age, everyone is wearing locks by Lilac. Now, could you talk about someone you were shocked by who you were able to have the opportunity to be able to wear a locks by Lilac?
Honestly, most people do. Like, it sounds kind of crazy, but like, even like just random people in Portland, when they first asked me, I was like, are you sure? Like, really? Like, what? Like, well, even when Kimberly wanted me to do her crowning wig, I was like, girl, are you serious? And then when Riri asked me to do her step down wig, I was like, what? Like, it was always these moments that were just like, are you sure? Like, I've always felt so incredibly like humbled and just like a little emotional sometimes. When Poison Waters, actually, yeah, Poison Waters was one of the big ones that I was like, wait, you want to wear one of my wigs? Like, are you sure? And then Darcel was probably one of the biggest ones that like had me shook to my core when she was like, oh yeah, I literally love what you do, and you know, I have some wigs in the back that you can take home with you right now. And I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? And then I like would walk over to like Kyle all calm and be like, ah! Like scream in his face, just like, she doesn't have anything to do here. Like it's pretty much been almost every single time. Like I just can't, I like can't even imagine that amount of support that I've had and the amount of people that do love what I do. It blows my mind every single day, honestly.
Well, not to do any more name drops, but I'm going to. I've also heard that you were able to get people to wear wigs such as London Adore
Yes.
and even Brooke Candy, correct?
Oh yes, Brooke Candy. I actually styled that wig for her, like backstage, hanging out with her and Charlie XCX. Like that was nuts.
And to see her on a stage in front of how many people, how did that make you feel?
I was like, if there weren't other people like right around me, I probably would have just been crying. Honestly, like I was like trying to hold it together so much because it's one of those experiences that you just like you're never gonna forget that. Like just seeing her performing in my hair and then like looking at all my friends on their Instagrams like posting like, oh my gosh, she looks amazing, and then several people were like, oh my gosh, this hair looks so good on her, and then I'm just like, hey, that was me, like what's up, like that. It's so crazy.
Girl, I think that is fantastic. I mean, you've been only doing drag 4 years, probably styling hair 2 years, and you are so established. I mean, bitch, you were able to do something in a quarter of my drag career. Well, honey, again, your wigs are always in such high demand. In fact, it seems like some of these bitches are actually battling each other in your live wig auctions. Tell me about the wig auctions that happen and how crazy it can get sometimes.
It's nuts. Like I'm, cause like I always think I, I wouldn't spend that money. Like not because I don't think that I like make good product or anything like that. I'm just like I'm a cheapskate when it comes to like buying things some of the times. I mean, because I do my own hair, obviously I don't ever think about the purchasing price of another wig. So I'm like, oh, I can get a $60 wig and make it look really cute. So I'm only spending $60, but what I'm not thinking about is like how much time I'm putting into it, how much product, and also that skill that it's taking me years to learn to do this. So like all that is adds up to the cost. So when you look at people that sell their hair for like $200, I'm like, well, if you think about it, they worked maybe 2-3 hours on it. They've been working for years to make sure they could do it that well. Like all that kind of stuff like goes into that price point, and it's not just about like, well, it's cute, like but I wouldn't pay that much for it, you know. So I appreciate, but it does blow my mind sometimes seeing people like fighting back and forth, like, you know, $200-300 sometimes to try and get some of the wigs, and
Well,
I only just feel complete and utter just like unbelievable. I just can't believe it, and I'm just like so thankful. Like there's always just that gratitude that I feel for everybody that, you know, supports me.
well, even I'll say that I enjoy doing your wig auctions because it's your chance of getting something you wouldn't normally think of a style that you may want, but then you'll see you auctioning it off, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna bid on that. And I will say that it can be kind of addictive and very competitive when you're actually involved with it because you're like, you'll make a $90 bet, and then before you know it, you're at $300 because you're like, I'm not gonna let this bitch outbid me. Fuck that.
Yes, it's very competitive, that's for sure. I mean, like, I know I get like that too. Like, I've been at auctions before, and I'm just like, no, bitch, you're not walking away with this. It's mine.
And I know that you'll post pictures prior to your auctions, and I'll be like, girl, you should just sell that to me. I'll give it to you like for $100 right now. And you're like, bitch, no. I'm like, come on, bitch.
No, I try to keep it fair. There are some times that if like I've thought about it, even just like posting a couple things up, because I'm just like, meh, I like it, but like if somebody wants it for, you know, $100, go ahead. But
Bitch, send
when
those
it comes
just
to
straight to me. We'll arrange kind of like a bitch talk with bitchcock sponsorship, and I'll just give you a little discounted money and be like, hey.
oh,
Well,
you're funny.
you're like, fuck you, you bitch. Well, let's talk about the highest one of your wigs have actually gone for on auction.
Um, I usually don't try to talk about the money kind of stuff, but that one, there was one that just like honestly shook me because it was like such a big, like people were going back and forth. Like there was like 3 or 4 different people that were like, I want this hair. And it ended up selling for like $400. And that was just like, what? Like I remember being in the background because it was like Kim was like modeling it. And I was in the background with our friend Mike. And I was just like, I literally just like had to like hold my scream in. I was just like, what? Like, I love the hair, but I never thought it would get, you know, that high.
I mean, and that is crazy. And I will say, like I said, when you're on those auctions, those bitches get competitive, especially if they see a wig and they want that. They will throw their rent money at you, I swear.
Yeah. So I mean, some girls got big pockets and big purses, so you know that's them.
I don't. I wait for you to share pity on me and be like, Lilac, style one of my wigs, please. But no, bro, I think you're fantastic. Now, speaking of all your styles, you come out with so many different looks. What is your favorite style that you have produced so far?
That's a hard one. Um, Damn, this one's hard. I always love like Kim always pushes me, especially she always like has these concepts and ideas, and she's like, I want something like this, or I want something like this, and then I'm like, okay, and then I like work with that. I mean, she's the reason I do even these like big ones like this. Like she was the one that started these, especially big. Like, yeah, it was the what she liked to call the Empress style, and she wore a lot of them through her year. But then there was a lot of times that she would be like, so I need like this color to look like a fish or some shit, like weird shit like that, you know. Like the Kimmy style started from her because she was like, "Oh, I really like this ponytail you did. Could you do it like this with a big old bang?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then I created, you know, the Kimmy style, and that one is getting pretty popular, honestly. Like a lot of people do like that one. Trying to think of like really like weird ones I've done.
How
I mean, I
about the one
literally
you made
remember
for
I have like
Angel, the one you made for Angel Phoenix, the mohawk with the
yes, that was
braids?
what I was gonna bring up. I was like, most braided things I really love because braids are like so intricate, you know, looking, especially. And when Angel had messaged me because she saw this one that I did with it was like braided cornrows to one side and then it was just big on the other side, and she was like, "Could you do that on both sides and make it like a mohawk?" And like, the hair she gave me was so beautiful. I was like, I'm inspired. And then I like made it like swirly on the side, going back and looking like a big old flame going backwards with like cornrows on both sides. And that was probably one of my favorites I've done for sure.
No, that is fantastic. And again, I will probably say one of my biggest addictions is to lilac wigs because I felt probably the most prettiest when I started wearing your hair. And
Aw.
that's when I started being more secure about myself as a queen because, you know, when you paint big, it doesn't always look good when you wear flat hair.
Yeah.
So when I was able to, and let's be honest, getting styled wigs isn't always easy or affordable. And you are such a kind and sweet person that, especially if you know someone, you're going to do your best to work something out, or, you know, tell them this is what I can do for this price.
Yeah.
So with that said, you know, we mentioned that a lot of your wigs can go for crazy prices with these auctions. Now, do you do any individual like custom styles for people who just want to kind of say, hey girl, I have this wig, can you do this for me?
Yeah, I do that more regularly than anything else, honestly. I've lowered the amount of customs I take in just because I do get super busy with doing auction ones and doing like specialty ones. So I did lower the amount of customs I would do in a month because it would be like literally I'd have so many that I would have to tell people when I ordered it. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a month from now that you're going to get this hair back because I have so many, orders in. So I did have to change a couple things up when it came to that, but I am still regularly doing custom work, even now during this quarantine time, where I can't really do a whole lot, but I'm still pushing those out and making sure they're getting sent out on time.
You know, girl, so right now, with being so busy with drag, being so busy with styling wigs, always being so high demand, do you still work a day job or are you surviving purely on drag?
I do work a day job, actually. I work at Ross Dress for Less, not gonna lie. I actually get a lot of my outfits from there too. I'll like take something and I'll put stuff together, whatever. I like to be frugal and cheap. Like
You
I was
gotta
saying.
love Ross cross dress for less, god damn it.
One of my neon outfit, the black and neon one that I always wear, that a lot of people really like. That whole outfit literally cost me. Well, the shoes alone cost me $50. That's a different story. I will go all out when it comes to shoes. I fucking love shoes. But the outfit itself, every piece all together, only cost me $6. So
I love that, bitch. Now, are there ways that people can help support you right now? I know these are hard times. Again, if you like to tip during this interview, both of our tipping information is in the description. Now, is there maybe a wig auction that's coming up soon, or any live feeds that people can follow to help support you during these hard times?
yeah, me and the JJ have already done one show, and we're probably gonna do another one soon. But then yes, I do have an auction coming up. I have, I think, like 8 weeks. I keep forgetting. I like count them out, and then I just work on one or two of them, and then I'm like, oh wait, how many do I have left? So I am working on an auction. I originally planned it for tomorrow, Thursday at 6. I realized I found 2 extra wigs that I had for the auction, so it might be more like Saturday. But I will be keeping people posted and posting on my social medias, obviously, to keep them posted on that one.
Oh my
And then
god.
I also just started coming out with some merchandise. Right now, I have stickers available, and those are like $5 each, and I will ship them out to people, so that way you don't have to have any contact, social distancing, realness. But that's another way you can support me.
I think that's fantastic, girl. I really, really do adore you, and I will love to get the name of Lilac out there so people can support you. Now, we're almost done with our interview here. We only have a couple more questions, and then we're gonna play a little bit of a game.
Okay.
So, okay, girl, let's see here. Nope, we already did all that. So, talk to me about how you feel about your experience on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock.
This has been fun, honestly. I mean, my butt's uncomfortable because I'm not wearing padding right now. But no, I've been enjoying it. You were really fun. And I mean, anytime we can just chit chat and have a good time, I love it.
You know, I really feel like things like this is very important. I just now got inspired to do this, even though it's been a long-term idea I've had for years. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, but Bitch Talk with Bitchcock was a radio show that I used to do for a year and a half on mainstream radio.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So, yeah, so this is kind of the reincarnation of it, where when I started seeing so many performers losing opportunities, and I started feeling a mental hit, and because I didn't have that outlet for drag, I wanted to try to open something out and do what I can do to support the community, and also, an opportunity to earn a little.
Exactly.
Well, honey, I'm so happy that you came here, and I'm happy to say you survived all my questions, bitch.
Yay.
But with that said, we have 2 games to play. Do you want to play a little game with me, bitch?
I am down.
So first we're going to play a little game of marry, kai, or cancel. How
Okay.
it's going to work is I'm going to name 3 names, and you're going to tell me if you would marry them, kai them, or cancel them completely.
Okay.
And to make this a little more interesting, I chose some of your most closest friends and fellow performers.
Oh God. I hope they don't get too upset with my answers. It's nothing
Guys,
personal.
again, this is a game. This is meant for
Yeah.
fun and for humor. Don't get pissed off. I don't have time for angry letters. So definitely let's just have fun with this. So for number 1, we have Kimberly Michelle Westwood, Priscilla Caliente, and
Okay.
Angel Phoenix.
Ooh. That's a hard. um. Well, I know I wouldn't kai with Priscilla because we're sisters. That's weird.
You're my drag sisters.
Exactly. We're too close. Shit. I didn't. I should have thought this through. Um.
I warned you, bitch. I warned
hmm. No, I'll marry Priscilla. Oh God, this is really
you.
okay. Okay, I figured it out. I'll marry Priscilla, kai with Kim, and cancel Angel because Angel's always talking about being a canceled queen and shit, and I think she'd appreciate it.
Oh my God, I love it. And she's a fabulous queen. I mean, that bitch knows how to perform and is not going to get canceled anytime soon.
She's funny. I love her.
Okay. Well, for number 2, we're going to go with some old school queens. And we're
Okay.
going to go with Riri Caliente,
Okay.
Fabulanza, and Poison Waters.
Oh God. Oh, these are gonna be hard. Hold on, let me get a little drink.
Sip that tea, girl. Sip that tea.
um, Riri, Fabulanza, and Poison. Oh my God. I'll go with. Oh my God. This stuff. I'll just because I'm gonna commit to it and just do it. I would marry Poison. She cracks me the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
I would Kai with Riri just because I don't want to cancel her, and then I'd cancel Fabi not because I hate her, but literally like she doesn't do drag that often anymore, so it's okay.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. See, I love this game so much. It's such a shady but fun
You're gonna
game.
get me in so much trouble. I cannot.
Believe me, I had one of my guests are like, "Do I have to do this game? Because I feel like I'm gonna get in so much trouble." I'm like, "Girl, you'll be fine. You'll be fine."
Again, it's nothing personal. Nobody, don't worry.
Okay. So for number 3, and this is the last one for Mary Kai or Cancel,
Okay.
we have Maliena Bitchcock,
Oh, sure, gotta throw yourself.
Misha McPherson, and Caress Ann Slaughter.
Oh,
Behave, girl. I'm here. I'm watching you. Choices.
I like, girl, this is hard. Shit. Oh my God, people gonna hate me. This is all your fault. I will. Shit. I'll marry Caress, Kai with you, and cancel me.
What? You were Kai with me?
Girl, I know what you got going on. Don't even play.
Hold on, oh my God, that got me excited. I closed my screen for a minute. Oh my God, girl. Oh my God, that
got
was
together. Don't play.
like, don't be flirting with me now, bitch. Now that you know I'm with you.
Oh my God, Dad, I can't.
I love that. See, I love that game. It's so fun, and it's always able to get a little tea out there watching.
Enjoyment.
Well, girl, we're gonna play a new game called Truth or Drink. So I hope you didn't empty that can yet, because we need you to take a drink every time you don't want to tell the truth.
Well, let me go grab another one really quick. I'm gonna have someone grab it for me.
No problem. While you're doing that and getting a drink, let me just let everyone know for our next episode this Friday, I will have the one and only Nikki Serenity Storm all the way here from Eugene, here on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, to talk about her life as a glamazon and being one of the most beautiful queens out here in Eugene, guys. So definitely make sure to tune in. And also, I'm happy to announce that I will also be starting to sell Maliena Bitchcock stickers coming up shortly, which will also be for $5 a piece. And hopefully be getting some t-shirts out there for Bitch Talk. So,
yes,
guys,
girl, that merch.
Bitch, I am a broke queen. I will do what I have to do to get an extra dollar here or there. Even if your daddies need a little extra attention, just send it my way. I'm always willing to make that money, honey.
Get it.
All right. Are you ready to spill some tea or drink some?
Yes. Hopefully I don't get too drunk.
Well, it's only 5 questions, so unless you're taking shots, you shouldn't be awful. So, who's a prettier drag queen? You or Vajayjay?
Vajayjay, that's easy.
But you're both beautiful.
I always think she's prettier than me every single time. That's not a lie.
I mean, she's pretty. She is. And she's skinny as fuck. She makes me, like, wonder if she even eats.
I'm a whale in comparison.
Bitch, I'm a whale in comparison. Ugh. Okay. What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you in drag?
First ever drag show. I was performing my first number, and at this time I was tape tucking, and something snapped while performing, and didn't realize it till like 2 days later. I mean, I knew it was already hurting, but I didn't think it was like that big a deal till 2 days later. I wake up one morning and one ball is just like significantly bigger than the other, and I had to go to the doctors, and they're like, "Oh, it's all, what's the word? I forgot what they said. It's just inflamed or some shit," but literally it was horrible. It was so embarrassing. I'm explaining to my doctor, I'm like, so my testicle was like inside of me, and taped up. Like, what? What were you doing? I'm a drag queen, it's fine.
Oh my God, that's
drinking
pretty hardcore.
So,
I love it. And I love it that you spilled that tea. So for number 3, I'm hoping maybe I can get you to take a drink, but we'll see if you actually answer. In these hard times, would you consider opening a fans only page?
No, I don't think I would.
Come on, girl. I thought you like earning that money.
I got other businesses going on. I'm not stressing too much. I'm not spending a lot of money because I'm not like, going out to eat every day or going to the bar and, buying a whole bunch of new drag stuff. So I'm honestly saving some money right now, which is good.
Well, just hear me out. Just a fans only page of you styling wigs naked.
Not gonna lie, people have asked me to do that before, but I'm like, y'all couldn't afford it because styling wigs on its own, I would charge a lot just to see. And then trying to get me naked, no ma'am, that's gonna cost a whole lot.
Okay, no problem. Okay, this one I don't think you're gonna answer, bitch. How much do you weigh?
Ah, a lady never tells.
Sip, 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 sip.
I don't really care. I'm like 200 and think 16 pounds right now. I'm a fat bitch. I don't give a fuck. I got a thick ass. Y'all already know.
All right, we have two more questions and then we're gonna say our goodbyes. How much do you spend on makeup a year?
A year? Ugh. I would say if I could like rough estimate, it's probably close to like $600-700 maybe, depending on what I run out of. But yeah, probably close to that in 1 year.
Kimberly said $2,500.
But she crazy. I know what she does, and she goes and buys all that kind of shit. Like I'll do buy like some new shit, but like she's like, anytime there's a release of like some really cute shit, she'll go and buy it. But I'm like, if I don't need it, I'm not gonna go buy it. You know?
Right. Okay, okay, I love it. Okay, our last question is if you could, okay, what famous drag queen would you kai with?
Um, I feel like there's several. Not gonna lie. Trying to think of ones. God, that's a hard question actually, because now I'm like I'm gonna think of like all these like hot dudes. Um, I mean,
I
Pearl
know.
would always trade. Let's be real. I would always like the second I saw Pearl at a drag, I was like dead.
Well,
Like,
I will say this. And this was actually a conversation between me and you when we recently did a show in Medford at the Randall Theater, and we were talking about Drag Race girls. And I've always kind of had a crush on this queen. And
oh
then
my
you
god,
showed me, a picture of their dick,
yeah!
and
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Cameron Michaels.
That
Um,
bitch could get it, obviously.
oh, that man is beautiful, and I'm just saying his dick is just as pretty.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely.
Oh. Well, honey, guess what? You survived Bitch Talk with Bitchcock. And
Yay.
thank you so much for coming on here and just spilling all the tea and sharing all your secrets with everyone.
Thank you for having me. This was honestly so much fun. Hopefully I don't get canceled. Hopefully people still support.
Well, this was
Even if I
only
cancel them.
episode 7, so hopefully I'm the one that doesn't get canceled and we can actually make it to episode 8. So, speaking of everyone, episode 8 is coming this Friday with the beautiful Miss Nikki Serene Storm, all the way from Eugene, Oregon, and one and only Glamazons. Also, this Friday after Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, I will be hosting a live feed where I will be performing for about 30 minutes to an hour and giving you bitches some opportunity to tip and see some different performances that I may have up my sleeve. So, again, thank you for coming on the show, Miss Lylac. Everyone, make sure to support and follow Lylac. Also, one last time, please, if you enjoyed this interview or really just enjoyed hearing all the tea and learning these secrets, please tip Miss Lylac. She really spent a lot of time getting in drag this morning, and we really should appreciate her. So even if it's $1, make sure to show her some appreciation. And again, tip information for Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App will be in the description. I appreciate you all. I can't wait to see you Friday. Thank you for tuning in to Bitch Talk with Bitchcock. Yes. Bye.